Hello, everyone. Phil Morgan here at Missouri Meerschaum Company, and here happens to be in my office at the plant at Missouri Meerschaum. And I thought it would be a good time to give everyone an update on the FDA regulations. Most of you probably already know what's going on with it, but just to give you an update from our perspective. And as you know, uh, when the FDA regs originally came out, they deemed uh, pipes, our little humble corncob pipes, to be a tobacco product along with pipe tobacco. It was part of their assault on what I consider an assault on our peaceful and social hobby of pipe smoking. And not a whole lot has really changed since they originally came out with the regulations. We are still considered a tobacco product and a manufacturer, but what has changed, or the most significant things that have changed, are that they have delayed the dates that we had to do certain things by. For instance, in the regulations originally, we had to register as a manufacturer and submit a product listing by the end of the year, by December 31st of 2016, this past year. Well, they then extended that deadline to June 30th of this year of 2017, and now effective yesterday, I believe, I just became aware of it today, but effective yesterday, they've once again extended that deadline to September 30th of this year. And I think what may be significant about that is that it's my understanding that the lawsuit that was filed by several of the tobacco organizations like the IPCPR, Cigar Rights of America, and I know there's a couple others in there too, that lawsuit, I believe, is supposed to have its first hearing in the month of August. Now, I don't know if because they've extended this deadline, if that now means that that hearing has been extended too. But I'm not being naive, but I am somewhat being cautiously optimistic that extending the deadline means that somebody has presented something to someone that they say, okay, we need to take a little more time to look at this. So again, I don't want to be naive. I'm just being cautiously optimistic that maybe it means that some reasonableness is going to be introduced, into the regulations. It doesn't mean that it will be, and nothing else has happened to make me think that other than they keep extending the deadlines. But the one thing I wanted to tell everybody once again is, let me assure you, Missouri Meerschaum has been making pipes now for 148 years, since 1869. And our federal government and then the FDA, part of our federal government, is not going to keep us from making our corncob pipes. So let me assure you that we will, whatever the regulations end up being, we will comply with them, and we will continue making our corncob pipes, hopefully for at least another 148 years. I may not be around then at that time. Kind of hope I am, but I may not be. So that's about the only update that there really is on the FDA regs right now. The Another update. Usually, the type of video that I'm recording at this time of year is on our planting. It would be my first video from the field. And I would love to be doing that. We've already planted our field. As a matter of fact, we've planted about almost 275 acres this year. Planted our field, rented another field to plant, and that's all been planted for a little over a week now. The problem, which is something that, it's a problem that we seem to encounter in sometime during the year, almost every year, is the Missouri River and a flooding potential. And as most of you probably know, the mid part of the country the past few days got a tremendous amount of rain. There's flooding in the St. Louis area. There's flooding in Arkansas, flooding in southern Missouri, flooding in Illinois, that and the Missouri River, which is right out the window behind me across the street, across the railroad tracks there. It's not at record levels, not even close to record levels, but it is coming up. And our concern is that we are supposed to get tomorrow and the next day, which would be Wednesday and Thursday of this week, we're supposed to get 2 to 3 inches more of rain, which it depends on where that rain falls as to how badly it impacts the Missouri River. But we're just keeping our fingers crossed and praying, that it doesn't cause it to go up further and then cause our fields to flood. What we did do today, just as a precaution, is, as most of you probably know, one of our fields is irrigated, which means it has a center pivot irrigation system. So there's a diesel motor in the middle of it that drives the pump that irrigates the field. We went to the field and removed that motor. It's on a trailer, basically, just as a precaution. So that's kind of the status on that. I mean, it's again, that's something that we kind of encounter at some point almost every year, and we're just unfortunately encountering it right at the very beginning of the season this year. In other news, I guess, and a good thing is, most of you probably know the Chicago Pipe Show is this weekend. We will definitely be there. And any of you who are there, please stop by and visit us. We love talking to people. This is the hobby of pipe smoking is a tremendous hobby, and full of very sociable, very friendly people. And that's what makes it so enjoyable to be part of it. So if you're lucky enough to go to the Chicago Pipe Show, please stop by, and visit with us. We love to talk with people. And one more thing before I forget it, and I will try to post this link either in the video or in the comments section, again, concerning the FDA. And most of you are probably aware of this already, but there's an individual named Rick Newcomb who has been in the pipe community and active in the pipe community for years. Rick is a very good writer. He knows pipes through and through. And Rick wrote an article basically giving his opinion on why the FDA was so wrong in attacking pipe tobacco, and cigars. And if you haven't read that, then go to the link and read that. It's probably the most well-written, well-presented argument that we have for our hobby. And I think that probably that our as far as these FDA regulations, the best approach to them, unfortunately, is going to be in the courts. That the court case finds a judge that says that these aren't reasonable or that the FDA overstepped its boundaries. But it certainly doesn't hurt to talk to your congressmen and your senators. I know tobacco is a subject they don't really like to be out in front of because it's not politically correct. And last fall, during the elections, that was not a good time necessarily for them to approach the subject, because most of the congressmen were trying to get reelected, and they just didn't want to come out. I don't think they wanted to come out as being perceived as being on the side of tobacco. Well, now that the elections are over, I think now would be a good time to let your congressmen and your senators know how you feel about the FDA regulations. And I think a good thing to send them would be a copy of the paper that Rick Newcomb wrote. It so clearly lays out the argument as to why the FDA should not have attacked, our peaceful hobby. So that's a tool that you might, if you haven't used it, that you might want to use, and just send a copy of it to your congressmen and your senators. So that's it for now. If anything new happens with the FDA, or if I learn anything differently at the Chicago Pipe Show, I'll definitely let you know. Again, I'm hopefully not being naive. Hopefully, I'm being cautiously optimistic. And just on a much lighter note, I sure hope to see some of you at the Chicago Pipe Show, and please, stop by and talk to us. And it seems like every time I do a video where I'm smoking a pipe, somebody wants to know, well, hey, what are you smoking? This is a Fifth Avenue Diplomat, one of our pipes, obviously, and I am smoking, it's called Northwoods by J.M. Boswell in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And if you like English tobacco, this is a really good one. So, and my wife is from the North, so hey, Northwoods fits perfectly. Okay, everybody, thank you. And I hope to see some of you in Chicago. Thanks.